Hi, everyone, and welcome back, and thank you for joining us on our next episode of Unprocessed Sugar. I'm Dr. David Sugar, and our guest today is Nora Clemens, our functional medicine nutritionist. Thanks again for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us, Nora. I really appreciate it.
Hey, David. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. So today we're going to talk about gut health. And I don't mean this gut. I mean what's inside and all that entails, and Nora will pass on her wisdom to us. So one of the first things I learned in talking with you about things is that 70% of our immune system is based in our gut. I had no idea. So what does the gut do exactly to help our immune system?
Boy, that's a question that has a lot of pieces to it, but I will simplify it. And we're going to get to this, but we hear a lot of conversation about fiber, right? And fiber is important because it is the primary and only food of the beneficial bacteria. So we eat food, it has fiber, the fiber works its way down into the colon, and then the bacteria produce these components called short-chain fatty acids.
Right.
So the short-chain fatty acids, nobody talks about short-chain fatty acids, but they're so important because they actually control the immune system. It's like putting a bridle on a horse. A horse can, be wild and run around, but when the rider is managing it with the reins and the bridle, you're going to be able to direct the horse where to go. So those short-chain fatty acids direct the immune system on how to function. So isn't it crazy that 70% of our immune system is deployed from the gut, and it all has to do with, are we eating fiber to feed the bacteria to make those short-chain fatty acids?
That's a very interesting and very big kind of bottom line.
Yeah.
And I had no idea, but 70% of our immune system comes from our gut. It really is.
Yeah.
So is there some daily habits or a daily habit that one could institute into a regimen that would help support that gut modulated immune system?
Right. Well, gosh. It just seems like I am a bit of a broken record.
Yeah.
Well, talking about eat whole food because whole food has fiber, and particularly, the fiber that you want should, and we'll get into this, diverse different types of fibers. But look, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, whole grains, and whole grains are things like oatmeal, nothing too crazy, quinoa, brown rice. So when we're eating a variety of those things, we are automatically getting fiber, feeding the beneficial bacteria, and then they are really ramping up our immune system.
Okay. Yeah. Not quite off topic, but you mentioned brown rice.
Right.
So brown rice is more healthy than white rice.
Yeah.
Is white rice bad for you, or is it just not that good for you like brown rice is good for you?
I think you just said it. Yeah. White rice is the processed version of, rice. And brown rice has its original outer coating. There's the fiber, right? And then like wheat, when they process wheat and take the outer coating off the wheat and throw that away, you've just got, white flour. So white rice is kind of like white flour.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So not necessarily detrimental to you, but it's not giving you all the benefits that a brown rice would.
Because of the fiber, but also a lot of the nutrients get taken away when that outer...
They process it?
Right. The processing does remove fiber and nutrients. So it's not bad. You just don't want to overeat those things.
Okay.
Right.
All right. That's good. Yeah, I've wondered that for a long time, and that's awesome. So I think everybody's probably familiar. Our gut, our GI system is what digests our food.
Right.
So what are some of the mechanics of how that happens? What goes on? You eat a piece of food, and what happens to it?
Yeah, what happens? Right. So think about this. The first place is... most of us are in a rush and we're wolfing down our food. So we forget that our teeth is actually part of the mechanics of that. So number one, be mindful, chew your food, don't wolf it down.
Right.
And so that is part of digestion, phase one. And then the saliva mixes in with it, digestive enzymes, goes into the stomach, hydrochloric acid, breaks down that food some more.
Breaks it
mechanically.
Down,
No, acidically.
Acidically.
Well, it does kind of like churn.
Right. Yeah, it's not mechanical.
Yeah, the stomach's kind of like churning it around, but it is the hydrochloric acid
that breaks it down.
Breaking it down, dumping it into the small intestine, the first 23 feet of the intestines. And the role of the small intestine is to dump out digestive enzymes that will further break down that food until its tiniest particles. And only then can we absorb the nutrients and really get what we're eating. The reason we're eating is to get nutrients, even though it's like to fill our tummy. But that's where the nutrition gets absorbed. And then the rest, the fiber, dumped into the colon. Beneficial bacteria eat the fiber, does all its magic, and elimination. So
all right, great.
That's the deal.
So a term that's become more widespread and used, and I've learned lately, is the microbiome. So could you give us just a brief definition? What's a microbiome? A small biome?
Yeah, a microbiome. So it's just a community of bacteria that live in the colon.
Nice.
And where bacteria should live is in the colon, not the small intestine. Because remember, we just said the job of the small intestine is to digest and absorb nutrients. The job of the colon is to package up waste and get rid of it. So those beneficial bacteria, which are in the trillions, Trillions. Okay, that's a big number. They, in number, exceed the number of cells that the human body has. There are many, many cells in our body, but there are trillions of beneficial bacteria in our colon.
So the microbiome refers to the bacteria that live in our large intestine. The colon. And so let's say you're eating poorly or not eating properly, and your microbiome's out of whack. What will you feel? What will happen?
Sure. Oh my gosh, that is a very big question, and so many things could go wrong. And even though when you eat food, everything flows in that direction, from top to bottom and on out, there are feedback loops so that if things are out of balance in that beautiful microbiome where we have not only trillions of beneficial bacteria, but like many millions of different strains. So they live on a good day, in a good person, healthy person, in harmony, in balance, in numbers. But if, the standard American diet, processed food, that type of thing can easily disrupt that balance. So when that balance gets disrupted, then digestion upstream, shall we say, will get impacted. But, I mean, frankly, it's all the things people go to the doctor for. Doc, I've got reflux. I have bloating. I've got problems with either constipation, diarrhea, or alternating. So you can start getting all those miserable gastric problems. And it really is due to, what you're putting in your
biome
body.
Being out of balance. Well, that's good. So really a wide range of symptoms you could feel.
Wide range.
Come from a common cause.
A common cause.
All right, good.
Root cause.
So you mentioned beneficial bacteria. And those live primarily in the large bowel, the gut, the large gut, the colon. And so they live on fiber.
That's it.
That's interesting.
Isn't that cool?
And they eliminate waste.
And
I think I remember learning that that's where most of our water absorption takes place, in the large bowel. Is that right? Okay.
It's true.
Okay, awesome. Now, what are some of the things that the beneficial bacteria will do for us? I know they help us. Do they make anything, produce anything?
Gosh, well, I did mention those short-chain fatty acids that are part of the immune system regulation. But I'll tell you, the short-chain fatty acids also, some types, they provide food for the lining of the colon. So it's that's pretty important because you want the lining of your colon to stay healthy so it's not bad and you develop diseases. So you're maintaining your colon health, but also it speaks to the brain and, helps your brain make proper brain chemicals, neurotransmitters. And it also is involved in metabolic health. So it is part of that whole
stuff.
Blood sugar metabolism comes from there. So literally, you name the body system.
It affects it.
It affects it. So it is widespread with those short-chain fatty acids. Once the bacteria eat the fiber, make the short-chain fatty acids, acetate, butyrate, propionate, man, they go to work, boom, all over the body.
Now, did I read somewhere that they actually make some vitamins that our body needs?
I left that out. Thank you for reminding me. B vitamins, which are pretty crucial for a lot of stuff. Energy, for brain health, you name it. And vitamin K. Vitamin K is so important. I mean, for blood clotting, a lot of people know, but For bone health, yeah.
Okay.
Because vitamin K tells the calcium to go into the bone or the teeth.
How about that?
Without enough vitamin K,
You're not going to do
the
that.
calcium doesn't know where to go. It could go to the soft tissue, and you could have troubles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's pretty important. And you talked about brain chemicals. I think I also read that serotonin, I think, is one of the
Right.
specifics.
It's a brain
of-
chemical.
It actually makes it in the gut.
Right. So it not only directs the brain to make more, but the biggest amount of serotonin and dopamine, okay,
It's made in our
is
gut.
made in the gut.
Oh, my goodness.
So
wow.
it is actually made there.
So, it has
incredible.
mental health implications then.
Yeah, one of my areas of specialty really is gut health.
Right.
And I'll be honest, the people that I work with, not only are they physically ill, but they're suffering from emotional,
Right.
problems because of the ongoing issues that nobody can
Right.
seem to resolve. But then also that imbalance of those brain chemicals, David.
Okay.
Such a it's terrible.
Right,
It's
right.
sad.
That
It's
is
heartbreaking.
interesting. So we kind of touched on the immune
Yeah.
system.
Right.
Is 70% of our immune system takes place in the
Right.
in the gut. What can we do to maybe help them? Other than fiber, is there anything I can do to help my gut, help my immune system?
I mean, not really. From the standpoint that the majority of this support in immune health comes from the gut, honestly, it really sounds ridiculously simple,
Right.
but it is fiber. Because if you're not eating fiber, your gut bacteria is just not making those short-chain fatty acids, and then we're not having that whole cascade.
They're hungry.
It's crazy,
Right.
and it's so
Golly.
simple.
Whole foods and fiber. Whole foods and
I
fiber.
know.
Whole foods and fiber.
It doesn't seem right, but
But in a way, it's
true.
good because
It's true. It's
because
simple.
It's simple, right?
It's doable. People can start doing it right away.
Yes, absolutely. That's great. So we talked about mood and brain, serotonin. So you've actually seen patients whose mental health improves when you improve their gut health.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that something?
Every time.
Wow.
Not sometimes.
Every time. That is awesome.
And I give them that hope when, we first,
Right.
meet and I say, you're going to feel better emotionally, mentally,
good.
physically.
Right.
You're going to be a new person, and they are.
You don't necessarily need to take a pill.
No, we're not taking pills. We're
Get your gut feeling better. And
Yes.
You'll feel better.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Food is medicine.
Right? Food is medicine.
Really
Hippocrates,
is.
I think, right? Yeah. I
think so.
Yeah, I think that's who it was. So the fiber feeds the good bacteria,
Right.
bacteria in the large gut. And so how much should I take a day? Is there an amount of fiber I need to be taking a day?
Sure. So, look, for Americans,
Right.
because we have our habits, and this is the information that I have
Right.
for us in the U.S. For women, about 25 grams per day would be
Okay.
a good goal. For men, 35 grams a day. It's not super hard. I
Right,
promise you
right.
it's not. But the thing to remember is, well, a few things. You cannot get 25 or 35 grams in a meal, nor should you try to.
Probably won't feel too well. Yeah.
Right.
The people around you might not be
Oh
happy
my
with you.
gosh, it's going to be a terrible
Right.
cascade. Right. But, the point is you have to be intentional.
Right.
And you have to say, all
right.
right, I need to get a little bit for my first meal, my second meal, my
Right.
third deal, and kind of, work it in. You
So
really
I've,
should.
I've recently started taking some psyllium husk.
Nice.
And it's not the best tasting stuff, but
No.
I get my fiber that way.
So
and
good for you.
it also fills me up.
Yes.
So it kind of is an appetite suppressant in a way
Agreed.
that's
Yeah.
good for me all in one.
Hey, it binds cholesterol for people that are interested in
There you go. I
cholesterol.
forgot
There's
about that,
really
right?
high,
Okay.
the studies,
Right,
high stats
right.
on that. And I mean, like, beneficial bacteria love it.
Right.
And frankly, it's one of the highest studied or the top pick for people to take as a fiber supplement is psyllium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Highly recommended, highly studied. It's a good pick.
Psyllium's a plant.
It's a plant.
Yeah, nice.
Right.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
Now, I do know in looking at different types of fiber supplements, you got to be careful. As I always say, read labels because
Sure.
some of them have a bunch of additives in it to give them a flavor,
Sure.
give them a color,
Sure.
and you don't want all that
Right.
in there. All right.
No, you're so right.
So there's a lot of different ways we can get fiber.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned some vegetables, whole grains, some seeds, I think.
Yeah, nuts and seeds.
Fruits. I love pineapple.
Yeah.
I think pineapple's pretty high in fiber.
Oh.
And it's got a lot of
So many.
sugar, but it's good.
Yeah, but it's got, digestive enzymes.
Right.
So
You
got
know,
good
that's a good
benefits.
point, right?
Yeah.
So I also remember reading, they say, get 30 different types of sources of your fiber.
Right.
How in the world am I getting 30 different types? That
Right.
seems kind of hard.
It does.
Right? So
Sure.
I think number one is, as we always say, start something simple.
Right.
Just add maybe a fiber supplement.
There you
but
go.
then you probably can get by without 30 different ones. If you're
Right.
getting it, the first goal would be get enough. And
I
then if you
think
can get the variety.
that makes sense.
Right.
So, start at, like with the concept, just
Right.
get some.
Right.
Get
and
enough.
build from there.
But, here's the other thing that I want to suggest, again, because I want to plant ideas for actionable,
Right.
things for people to think about. The way that things are grown now, I mean, gosh, it used to be acorn squash was like a fall,
Right,
vegetable.
right.
Well, you can get acorn squash year-round now.
Yeah.
So the way they grow things now, you don't even know really what's seasonal, unless there's,
True.
special sales that,
Right,
they're
right.
saying this, that, or the other. But, you can also think about just eating rotationally and just don't eat the same thing every week.
Right,
So
right.
it might not be 30 different vegetables in a week, but if over the course
time.
of 2 weeks you eat, these
Okay.
this week, and then you run out of those, and then you shop and get different ones the next week.
Okay.
Already you're rotationally giving your beneficial bacteria different fibers
Little-
just because you're getting different
Right.
vegetables.
Because what was that
Yeah.
saying about the more variety at the buffet, the more varied the crowd?
Yes.
So we will actually get a wider variety of beneficial bacteria
Right.
if we're giving them a variety of food source.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I do
good.
want to just make a point
Please.
of some situational things
Right.
that I want to share could happen if we're not careful, right?
Okay.
Look, people are such creatures of habit, and once they develop their little routine, it's like I eat this and I eat this literally like every day, week, day in and day out,
Right.
and that's actually not good.
Okay.
Because what can happen is, even though you're eating healthy, if you're not eating that whole diversity, that buffet of different fibers, you're now selectively only feeding certain bacteria
Right.
strains.
Makes sense.
And all those other bacteria strains, they're like, what about me?
Yeah, right.
So they kind of shrink. And then that creates an imbalance. When there's an imbalance, look, we have all kinds of bacterial strains. And some, when given an opportunity and a foothold, they can overgrow. So you can develop a not so good bacterial overgrowth,
Okay.
just simply because you were eating a low fiber or low diversity fiber. You then created space for that organism to overgrow. Now you've got a bacterial overgrowth.
boy, okay.
Now you're not feeling good, and you're going to the doctor about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, bacterial overgrowth.
Right.
SIBO, small intestine bacterial overgrowth.
Right.
That's when bacteria from the large intestine gets into the small intestine, or what exactly is that?
Yes, SIBO could develop when there's a valve between the small intestine and the large intestine, and it should be clamped down.
The
And then
cecal
it
valve, I remember
opens up.
correctly.
Yeah, ileocecal valve. Very good. Yeah, how did you remember
That's
that?
from med school.
I
That was
know.
a long time. Or general
Whoa.
surgery resident
Good
internship.
job on that.
I know.
No, I love it. Some things stick, and that's really valuable because that valve, obviously, things should move through it one direction, and sometimes, for different reasons, it gets a little loosey-goosey, and things back up, move from the colon into the small intestine, and that's like, whoa! Now all of a sudden, these bacteria are finding themselves in the small intestine. Where is the land of milk and honey? Because there's all that food and all that good
Right.
nutrients. So they go, wait a minute, I like it here. So now I'm going to overgrow
Right.
in your small intestine. Now
Okay.
you've got SIBO, small
Yeah,
intestine bacterial overgrowth. That leads to bloating,
Mm-hmm.
burping, belching,
Oh, geez.
gas, and then the other, constipation, diarrhea. It's bad news. And the other way that sometimes people get SIBO is, so let's just say they're eating a highly processed diet, unfortunately. And so, there's no nutrients, no fiber, bacterial imbalance occurs. Now, the person starts getting reflux. I hear a lot of people, when I go out to eat or such and such, I get reflux. Or I start getting reflux no matter what I eat. So then, in Western medicine, doctors usually prescribe a proton pump inhibitor, a medication to reduce stomach acid, because it is thought that it is an overproduction of stomach acid that is popping up and burning your esophagus. But what it is there's something else going on.
Right.
So it's, of course, the root cause is the original poor diet that caused the microbiome imbalance down here that then upstream made a whole dysfunction of what's going on here. So that's why I'm saying what goes on in the colon, you want to keep that balance really good so that what happens at the upper part stays under good control. So again, the good solution is, taking a good top to bottom look, correcting any imbalances down there. There are comprehensive stool tests that can be done that, people in functional medicine can, get done for you, and you can find out what's going on. Right. So getting rid of reflux doesn't mean you have to take a pill.
Correct.
It's fine. It's your diet.
Exactly. If I can add my own personal experience, I was on a medication for reflux.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, 15, 16, 17 years.
I remember
and I
you
stopped. Not cold turkey. It's not a cold turkey medicine.
You
but
went
I just
off
stopped.
of it.
But I had changed my diet.
You had to.
I think I took it Tums once
Yeah.
the first day. Other
Awesome.
than that, I've never had a problem.
Right. That's fantastic.
The only thing that's different, other than stopping the medication,
Right.
is what I eat.
Right.
So that's a great example.
No, and so you're a manifestation of that. You're a testimony.
Right. Yeah, so that was nice, getting off another
and people
medicine.
need to hear that. Yeah.
And it has consequences with calcium
Right.
metabolism and bone density
B12
and things like
absorption.
that. Right. So, right. So
it goes
you
on.
really
Dementia.
What'd you call me?
Hey,
Right?
it's a thing.
It
It's
is a thing, right?
It's studied and
Yeah.
known. Do not
Yep.
stay on PPIs for too long.
Right. So, that's my own personal experience.
Yes.
And it worked great. So,
so glad for you.
obviously, people should check with their doctor before they do anything.
No,
all
agreed.
That stuff.
Do not go off of it to cold turkey.
Right,
Consult with your doctor.
Yep.
I agree.
So okay, we want to support our gut health.
Yeah.
We've been talking about fiber.
Yeah.
There's some other things too, and I have a hard time keeping them straight. Prebiotic and probiotic.
Right.
And prebiotics, the fiber stuff.
Right.
Probiotic are things like fermented foods.
Right.
Yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut.
Correct.
And then of course your fiber.
Right.
I love sauerkraut, and I have
yeah.
a jar in the fridge. And I'll just take 2 big forkfuls a day and eat it. I love it. It's
Perfect.
Good, right?
Well done.
Yeah, so it's good.
Well
and
done.
then I'd asked you before, what kefir? What is
Yes.
kefir again?
Well, it's liquid yogurt, basically.
Okay, that was it.
It's
Yeah.
more liquefied yogurt.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all the same benefits.
It does.
That's awesome.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those will feed your large gut bacteria as well.
Absolutely. And so,
Okay.
I mean, I'm just going to summarize what you said so people have it very clear. So fermented foods,
Right.
all those, kimchi, kefir, yogurt, those contain beneficial bacteria, probiotics,
Okay.
the things
Gotcha.
that sometimes people take in a pill.
Yeah,
You
right.
can eat those foods,
Okay.
yogurt and so forth, and put beneficial bacteria into your
right.
system. And then the prebiotics is just fiber. That's
Okay.
what it is.
Okay.
And that's feeding the beneficial bacteria down in your colon.
Gotcha.
As we have discussed.
So the probiotic pills people take are actually bacteria. I think,
That's it.
usually. And I see some advertise, this will help the brain function. This will help.
Right.
So I guess that's not just marketing. I mean, there
No,
are
it's
certain
true.
bacteria that will perform other functions over others.
Oh, it's true. So
Okay,
true.
good. That's
No,
good. Now I've got a
there's
whole
some
other area
for
of
mental
supplements.
health,
Right.
that they increase, their serotonin and dopamine
Right.
and mood.
Okay.
There's others, like if you're having constipation, it resolves that. If you're having
Right.
diarrhea, it resolves that.
That's awesome. 'Cause I've got-
Inflammation, I mean, it goes on.
Yeah, right.
It goes on.
I have a probiotic. I haven't started taking it, and it's supposed to work with your vagus nerve and stimulating the parasympathetic to lower the sympathetic. And so I'm doing some vagus nerve work recently, and that same company has this probiotic, so that makes sense. So it is.
That's
it's
fabulous.
legit.
It is legit.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
No,
So
it's a good field.
Yeah, so prebiotic, fiber, probiotic, the bacteria.
Or the
that we need.
bacteria.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All
You're
right.
boosting them.
Okay, so those are the things that are going to help our gut.
Yeah.
What are some
Yeah.
things that are going to wreck our gut?
Yeah, the wrecking
Right?
ball.
Right?
Right. Well, we've heard of sugar, David Sugar, but unprocessed sugar. No. So, too much sugar. So excess sugar, right? Little sugar. Okay. But excess sugar over time. Yeah. And really, what turns into sugar? White flour, processed grains, too much carbohydrate. Yeah, too much pasta, too much white rice, too much, white flour. That turns into sugar. So all that stuff, like just too much of it. So we want to really just be more mindful on our portions and things like that. So, and then honestly, a lot of the processed foods, they come with chemicals, additives, preservatives, and those things also wreck our gut. So it's the sugar and the excess sugar and excess carbs, but also all the artificial ingredients in our
artificial
food.
sweeteners, I think, right?
Correct.
Emulsifiers, I think,
Yes.
also too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So those are bad. Now,
Those
I
will wreck.
want to do an episode because this is something I want to learn more about.
So important.
Added sugar and natural sugar.
Right.
Some people, myself included, may be under the impression that, it's strawberry. I can have as many as I want. Well, not really.
Correct.
So there is a difference.
Yes.
But the natural sugars need to be kept in check as well, in moderation.
I agree.
But, yeah, so,
Look, a couple things. Try to put down fruit juice unless it's a squirt in your water bottle or something, or, very small amounts. And then, honestly, no more than 3 fruit a day is my general guideline. I really prefer more like 2.
Oh, boy.
I know, but that's me.
Right. Well, the reason
That's
I say,
me.
oh boy, is what I started doing just recently.
Right.
So I can have some snacks. I buy them
Right.
frozen fruit.
Yes.
Frozen dark cherries are
Yes.
so good.
Yes.
But, oh my gosh.
You have to be careful.
I'm eating way too many. I ate a whole bag of
It's
grapes
so
last night.
hard.
It's so good.
It's tough.
It really is. Because
Yeah.
it quenches that craving for something sweet. I
Look.
like cold things.
And it really, at the end of the day, if you don't do it every single day,
Right.
it's look, you're getting fiber, vitamins and minerals.
Right.
No, it's not the worst thing in the world.
all right. But every day, I better stop.
You gotta
all right.
switch it up.
Yep.
Get some nuts in there.
Right? There you go.
Yeah.
So now we happen to have been bad to our gut and on a regular basis. It can start to affect the lining of the gut.
Right.
And cause something called leaky gut.
Sure.
Which is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
And what exactly is leaky gut for our audience out there?
Yeah, it's a very bad situation. The lining of our gut is very delicate. It's also 1 cell thick.
That's crazy.
Imagine that.
No, I didn't know that.
I mean, how could that be? But so under normal circumstances, those cells are just,
Tight together.
right tight,
Yeah, right.
tight. They call them tight junctions. So when we eat all those great processed foods, they do lead to inflammation, which is the wrecking ball, and it causes cracks in that beautiful lining. That is, why we call it leaky gut.
Yeah.
Yep. So what happens is rather than those properly digested, amino acids and nutrients getting absorbed as that is, and they normally just kind of like percolate right as water would through, cheesecloth. I mean, it just goes right through. But now undigested stuff goes through that, leaky area and gets into your bloodstream and it's circulating around. And then our immune system says, halt, who goes there? Like, you don't belong here. You don't belong here. So that's kind of the gateway to autoimmunity, because by our immune system based on our genetics, then our predisposition to have, whether it's achy joints or a thyroid issue, now we are getting ourselves into our immune system auto-attacking ourselves because of leaky gut. Things got into our system and our immune system is protecting us, but in a way it's confused. It's overreacting and it's causing us various health autoimmune conditions.
A lot of inflammation comes from that.
Bottom line,
Right, which has
inflammation.
got cardiac consequences, joint, everything.
Everything.
Inflammation is the harbinger
Brain,
of bad
of
things, right?
everything.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff here.
Sure.
I always like to think of, just start small.
Sure.
Start with one thing
Yeah.
and add to it. I mean, that one thing could just be add more fiber to your diet.
Right.
Doesn't have to be a whole new menu, a whole new
No.
shopping list.
No.
And that fiber can be done as a supplement with a psyllium husk if you don't have the time, but if you
Yeah.
do, as always, get it in your food. But
Right.
you don't have to go get 30 different things. Just add something green leafy to your
Yes.
to your diet,
Yes.
or some pineapple or whatever it may be, and then build from there.
Absolutely. And,
Right.
and if you think about, what you like, just try to rotate it each week, but have some fruits and vegetables, okay? So we're not taking away, we're adding. We're
Right.
adding.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. This has been great. I really appreciate you joining us again,
So-
Nora. I always learn so much when you're on here, and I would like to think our audiences as well. What would be like one little simple way you would suggest people could maybe start incorporating something like this and maybe make it fun?
Right, right. You want to make it fun, and you want to make it doable,
Right.
and something you can repeat. So, think about what you normally eat, and look, everybody's connected to the internet somehow. I mean, to social media, but pay attention to those recipes that are going through your feed, and just grab in there and grab a new recipe. There's always. Look, my friends, they're always sending me, hey, check this out. Right. So get involved and just click on a new recipe and, go see what you can, make with cauliflower. That's,
right.
For example, you can make cauliflower no potato salad.
Okay.
So it's like making a potato salad using cauliflower. It's delicious. I can give you that recipe.
That would be great.
And, it's first of all, it's so good.
Right.
But it's like a cool way to
get that in your diet.
Yeah,
Awesome.
And cauliflower is so good for you. Yeah.
Well, I'll expand on your cauliflower idea.
Sure.
My wife makes a cauliflower bechamel. Ooh. And bechamel is the white cream sauce in lasagna.
Yes.
So she steams the broccoli, which of course makes the whole house smell.
Oh, yeah.
But then that's put in a baking dish, the bechamel, and then finishes off with some breadcrumbs.
Oh.
It's awesome. I've never liked cauliflower my whole life, and I love that. Absolutely love it.
It's creamy.
It's so good. Yeah, it's really good. So there you go, two cauliflower. Who would imagine we get two cauliflower ideas out of something, right?
But that's just a quick example.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Get in there and
just
try a new recipe.
Right?
Yeah, that's the way to keep it fresh.
Good deal. Well, Nora, thanks again for joining us. And along the lines of recipes, if you all want to check out our website, unprocessedsugar.com, under the resource tab, we have 8 different salad dressings you can make yourself with just natural ingredients. They're very simple, and it's all illustrated with pictures. So if you're reading challenged, but they're great. I use them all the time, but they're on the resource page at Unprocessed Sugar. And while you're there, if you sign up, you'll get an email whenever a new episode gets posted. But while you're here on YouTube, if you would be so kind of hit that subscribe button, it helps us grow our audience, which allows us to generate more content and bring it to you. And thanks again. I really appreciate you joining us for Unprocessed Sugar. Hi, I'm Dr. David Sugar, a doctor here in Florida, and thank you for joining us on our podcast. A quick note. This is for educational and general information purposes only. Listening to this podcast does not constitute a doctor-patient relationship, and please consult with your own healthcare provider before making any changes to your own care. If you are having a medical emergency, please call 911 or your local emergency number. Any items, tests, medications that we talk about or discuss are for information purposes only and are not an endorsement. Once again, thank you for joining us, and please see the website for the full disclosure and waiver. Thank you very much.